I'm Matt Towery for Insider Advantage, the Internet News Agency, and the Southern Political Report. It is Friday. You'll be either seeing this weekend or on Monday. If so, welcome to the new week. We had an Insider Advantage poll which we released on Friday in the Mississippi Democratic primary. That poll showed Barack Obama leading 46 to 40% over Hillary Clinton, but that's a closer race than one might imagine. I want to sort of explain the details of that a little bit to our viewers. There are a couple of things that will change in the dynamics of this poll, and one thing that we're watching very carefully. The things that will change, Clinton was enjoying a little bit higher percentage of African-American vote than she's been getting in almost all the primaries. That level will flatten out in all likelihood as we get closer to the primary, unless there is some sort of connection with Senator Clinton because she is from Arkansas, and in which case there might be a little bit of a bump in the African-American community there through a devotion to the Clintons, but I don't think it's going to be very strong. Also, high undecided among African Americans. That's not unusual in polls in the Southeast and perhaps the entire South. We usually don't get the African American number till right at the end on a poll, and even then there's about 7% undecided. They come home to roost, and they will come home to roost for Barack Obama. Mississippi, very high percentage of African American voters in the Democratic primary, so not a lot of question that Obama's likely to win. What is interesting, and I think what the Clinton team may be playing for, are a couple of things that the poll shows, and that is that when you combine the Republicans and independents who say that they're going to be voting in this race, both of whom said overwhelmingly they're going for Clinton, they make up between 15 and 20% of the total electorate of the Democratic primary. This is an open primary. A lot of southern states tend to have open primaries, so Republicans can switch over. Here is the $20,000 question for the weekend. Will the Republicans in Mississippi decide that this is a trend they should follow and begin to participate in this Mississippi primary in order to derail the Democrats further by putting Clinton closer to Obama? It looks like right now there is some degree of this. And the reason I say this is Republicans in Mississippi are loath to vote in a Democratic primary, yet we already have about 10 to 15% who say they're going, well, it's about 12%, who say they're going to vote or make up 12% of this primary. Now, that's fairly substantial for a state like Mississippi. In other states, it would be negligible. We wouldn't pay attention to it. We got to wait and see, because the Republican machine in Mississippi operates very simply. It can be one snap of the finger from certain people whose names I won't mention, and suddenly within a matter of days you could have 25 to 30% Republican participation. If that happens, this thing could grow a lot closer, although if it stays the way we would expect it to stay, Obama will win Mississippi, although Clinton will get some delegates out of it because many of those congressional delegations are primarily the ones where she's doing well. Now, Florida. Ad nauseum, we've talked about it, so I won't go any further than to say, if you got a chance to read the column that I wrote about a year ago saying that the Florida situation was a trap, had been set for Howard Dean, and now Howard Dean is squarely in the middle of that trap. We made fun of him yesterday a little bit with another one of our monkey interviews. We promise not to bring any more monkeys back anytime soon. We've had our fill of them ourselves, although it was a fun thing to play around with. The Florida situation is growing grave. I mean, it is the discussion of every single cable network, the pressure that's being placed on Howard Dean, and Senator Nelson from Florida basically coming out today saying, I told Howard Dean a year ago this was going to be a problem. Well, guess what? Not only Senator Nelson, but a lot of other prominent Democrats in Florida said, you are going to be killing the Democratic Party's chances in the fall if you don't deal with this now and if you don't seat our delegates. So there's real pressure now. I think the most likely solution that you will find will be a mail-in. Now, this is just my conjecture, a mail-in vote, both in Michigan and in Florida. It's the only way to do this without having a phenomenal cost involved. And right now, neither the Democratic National Committee nor any of the legislatures or the governments in either of these states want to pay for the cost of a massive primary. And they don't like the idea of a caucus because it's not as expensive, but it's expensive as well. Now, a mail-in primary is not going to inure to the benefit of Barack Obama in all probability, but it probably gives him a better chance than an overall primary. A caucus would be the best situation for Obama. But again, that's too costly. There's also been the talk of what you call a firehouse primary, in which, for example, you just have selected areas where the primary can take place. The problem with that is it would be jammed with people, it would be total chaos, and it probably wouldn't reflect the will of the people either in Florida or Michigan. This is a true disaster. And the only other disaster that equals the disaster the Democrats are facing right now is the unbelievably pathetic performance of the McCain campaign this week in having absolutely nothing of any significance to say, leaving President Bush standing in front of the White House, so he ended up tap dancing in front of the press corps, and then appearing with the president. And basically, all we hear from John McCain so far is the war in Iraq and how much he wants to keep the Bush tax cuts going. Drop the Bush. Let the president tap dance on his own, John McCain, because if you tap dance with him, you're going to be tap dancing right off the bridge. Everyone knows that. And that's the thing that has Republicans so incredibly incensed right now. The Republicans are in disarray, the Democrats are in disarray, and that's the way we like to leave it. Not only for the weekend, but for Monday morning. We'll see you. Have a great day.